G'day Melbourne, welcome to episode 8 of Offbeat.
Today we have surprise guests, Paul Anthony Nelson and Perri Cummings, talking about their horror film Apparitions that will be airing in the upcoming Monster Fest.
Monsters? Where?
Anyway, the world of theatre is celebrating the reopening of La Mama. La Mama is a Carlton theatre that is over 50 years old. It was completely decimated by a spontaneous fire in 2018. But after 3 years and countless grassroots donations, the theatre has been rebuilt and is finally reopening for December 9th this year.
I'll definitely be in the front row for their first show. But now in the world of both television and art, you may have heard about this already. Screen acting legend Christopher Walken painted over a verified Banksy graffiti art in Bristol while filming for the show The Outlaws. It shows the famous actor covering up a rat stencil, one of the artist's notable iconography.
Would Banksy even care that his artwork got destroyed? He shreds up his very own artwork.
I mean, if it was Christopher Walken who destroyed my art, I would be so honoured. I mean, it's Christopher Walken.
I suppose that's true. I always wondered what happened to the guy that paid millions of dollars for that destroyed Banksy art.
I don't know, but if it was me, my heart would rip.
Huh, nice pun.
What pun?
So in other news, the Grampians National Park has opened up a 13-day hiking trail spanning across 160 kilometres and exploring the sites that the park has to offer.
Sounds exciting. Will there be any more secret meetings with white supremacists?
No, but I think there'll be secret anti-vax meetings. Maybe an Alcoholics Anonymous, and they're planning a convention for angry Redditors.
Wonderful. Now, on to music news. Rock veterans The Foo Fighters have announced their first feature film called the horror comedy Studio 666 666, set for release in February. Featuring a story written by lead singer Dave Grohl, Studio 666 centers around the band's attempt to write a new album in the Californian mansion with a gruesome history as Dave battles writer's block, dark forces in the mansion wreak havoc in the band and anyone else unfortunate to be in the vicinity.
Hey Felicity, speaking of horror movies with music stars...
I swear, if you say the ABBA movie, I am out of here, Kendra. Like, I'm out.
ABBA? What? No, I was going to recommend the 2001 movie Bones, starring Snoop Dogg.
Sorry, Kendra.
But you won't be sorry if you tag along to this year's Monster Fest Horror Movie Festival taking place at Melbourne Cinema Nova. Running from the 2nd to the 12th of December, the 10th Monster Fest showcases horror cinema from all over the world. International highlights include dark comedies, Black Friday, The Scary 61st, Taiwanese shocker, The Sadness, and Phil Tiplett's stop-motion animation Mad God, which took 30 years to complete.
Homegrown titles include Melbourne-made Head Trip, The Lonesome Room, Mornington-shot thriller The Dunes, and Apparitions, which was made in regional Victoria. We'll be talking with Paul Anthony Nelson and Perri Cummings, the makers of Apparitions, after the break, so don't go anywhere. Apparitions is a second feature film from Cinema Viscera, the production collective of Paul Anthony Nelson and Perri Cummings. In contrast to their 2018 debut, the black and white private eye comedy Trench, Apparition takes a leap into horror as a young woman returns to her family home to confront the ghosts of her past. This film will be also part of the new up-and-coming festival Monster Fest. Co-writers, co-producers and co-directors Paul Anthony Nelson and Perri Cummings. Welcome to the show.
Hey, it's Lil. I'm scared, Al. I'm not sure what's happening.
Welcome, Perri and Paul, to Offbeat. Thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it. I'm super excited to talk about your new feature film, Apparitions. Would you be able to tell us what Apparitions is about? Or give us a bit of a...
Oh, it's about the ghosts from the past that still haunt us. It's about this young woman who's just about to graduate who has a tragic incident in their past that they can barely remember. And all of a sudden, under their door, they get a key to unlock those memories and find an evil presence haunting them.
And so what was your inspiration behind creating Apparition?
Yeah, we wanted to make a horror film for a long time.
Yeah.
And we sort of got into that. I'd sort of written a script for an idea about a girl, like, you know, the horror film concept of the final girl.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the slasher film, she's the only one left. I had this concept of this girl where that had happened to her several times, to the point she just seemed to attract serial killers and slashers, to the point where she thought that she was starting to become a slasher herself because she killed so many killers.
She was a slasher magnet, really.
Yeah. A recidivist final girl.
Yeah.
So, and then, you know, there'd been a few films that had sort of walked that sort of territory, and you sort of wanted to get away from that. But we liked the characters, and we liked the girl, and we liked her best friend, and we liked the cop who's her sort of, you know,
long time cold case cop.
And we liked the slasher, and sort of like, or you know, we like that sort of element of the villain, and so
we've been fascinated with that concept of a really good spooky, horror. What makes a haunted house so spooky? How can you capture that? And so we kind of put those two things together.
Yeah, and readapted it into this new story. It's like basically plugging the characters into a new story and seeing how those, and then, you know, adding this sort of haunted element. I love that. And creating a bit of a path through the history of horror.
And were there any specific films that influenced the creation of Apparitions?
Yeah.
Lots.
So many.
Some we probably don't even consciously realize in the end. But yeah, you were writing a post the other day about sort of this sort of history of Australian horror, and there's been things like, you know, the Wake in Fright is obviously a little bit of an influence, but also there's a lesser known early 80s horror film called Next of Kin, directed by Tony Williams, which is about kind of a haunted old person's home and family being uncovered. That is an influence.
And we had this we really wanted to capture the darkness of something like, there was a lot of Val Lewton. We watched a lot of Val Lewton and a lot of black and white kind of horror, that beautiful. There's nothing scarier than what you can't see. You know, that idea of suddenly all the lights going out and just, you know, so we watched a lot of older horror as well. But there's a great, like, a real homage to the Australian Gothic. Of course, you can't have Australian Gothic without having a truly spooky pub and some truly sweetly creepy publicans. And so we've got this beautiful acting team of Christina Benton and Stephen Dennis. The publicans, who are so sweet, they're completely creepy.
So you, Perri and Paul, both you co-wrote it, co-produced it, co-directed it. Beautiful. What was that process like doing?
Hilarious. Our crew ended up calling us like two directors, one brain through the process, because we do a lot of collaboration together. You know, so that's, you know, we start to pretty much direct it from writing. Everything becomes a collaboration. You don't remember who wrote what or
even now it's like, we added this line, it's like, I don't know who added that. You know, it's like it's one,
so it's just
they all blend in the end.
And Paulie has a fantastic visual eye. Like he's really beautiful at the visuals and the action and stuff like that. And I'm a bit of a kind of, like, I love to work with the actors.
Being an actor yourself.
Yes, I can imagine.
Like I always feel like it's my unwritten kind of duty to kind of hold the emotional content. So the Paulie and I will always discuss everything before we go on to set. We usually had this ritual where we go and we'd have a coffee and we'd chat about everything, and then so that we were kind of one when we go and be a united front and really understand what we wanted out of each moment.
Oh, I love it, love it, love it. So, your previous feature Trench was a black and white riff-off of the Private Eye film, whereas Apparitions is more of a moody, atmospheric horror. Was that your intention to do something very different from Trench?
I love genres. I've always loved genre cinema, so I'm very much. I want to kind of, like I love film noir and I love old sort of movies, and we wanted to. And there's something about being an independent, like an independent film. Let's go with independent filmmaker who wants to. There's a certain itch that every indie filmmaker goes through one to kind of make a black and white micro budget sort of, homemade type film where you do most of the roles yourself, and that was kind of Trench for me. It was like, and finding a way in, but also we're sort of telling these sort of female-led stories as well.
There's a few interesting through lines that we're discovering about ourselves as filmmakers, like strong female characters. There's the three leads in this are females. And also that we really love the idea of these heightened genre works, but the people that we put in them are very real. So they're quirky and they're vulnerable, and they don't suddenly have superhero powers, or like if they're in trouble, they're really in trouble. They're just likely to collapse on the ground and cry, because they're real people in these heightened situations. I think.
Exactly.
And Kate O'Connor, who plays our lead with the debut, she's our kind of secret weapon in a lot of ways, because she's never made a film before, and I feel like people are going to really discover something. And she is
she's my daughter.
Oh, beautiful. That's so lovely. That's so special.
We sort of create with our actual family and with our constructed family, we do work in that theatre way, that we have almost like a repertory of fantastic actors that we want to continue to work with, and amazing crew and creatives that we just want to keep growing with. I think collaboration is really important for us, and allowing everybody to have a voice in the field that they really are wanting to grow in, and that's something that we want to keep developing. Like next work, we really want to go into a development phase where we can bring our key actors and our key creatives in at a really early stage, so that that they have an ownership on the work, because
I love that. And so we've talked about it. You mentioned how it was shot in the bush. It was shot in the Australian regional Victoria. Did you shoot it?
Yeah, we sort of had a bit of both, because we shot scenes in a cafe up the road in Coburg, true for some favourites of ours, and then went out to we went out to Getho, which is past Lock, which is where our haunted house was located. And then we went to Mount Egerton to shoot our climax.
Which was perfect.
But they're all the same place, though.
Yeah.
They aren't really
all these different
miles apart.
I love that.
Walk out the door, you're in the other.
You're in it. Yes. Did you face like any challenges having to film out regional or out bush, or?
Not at all, because we sort of do this thing where we'd sort of hire an Airbnb sort of scenario. Well, one was through through somebody we knew, and she allowed us very kindly to shoot in her family home, and that was beautiful. And the other was an Airbnb situation where we told him what we were doing and everything, and he was keen. He was very lovely and signed releases and kept out of the way, and but would occasionally sort of come to us at the end of the day and said, how'd you go? And was very keen to know how we went, and so it was lovely. So we'd sort of have these sort of playgrounds where we just go, and it's harder to shoot in the city. It's harder to shoot locally.
Nice and quiet in the
I can imagine. Yes, that's so interesting. Finally, so what's next for Cinema Viscera? Is there any more projects coming up you're working on? Anything you can tell us about? Or
so we're developing a couple of horror scripts at the moment. We like horror a lot. We like
love that.
We're also developing our own special style of Christmas movie, which is kind of an anthology with several different kind of stories in different genres and different decades, like a 1950s office party where the bosses turn into tentacled alien beasts, and a 1970s
Cool. I
demonic
love
house
this.
party, stuff
Yeah.
like that. So
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's like we call it the Twilight Zone of Christmas movies. So it's
Beautiful.
5 sort of multi-genres from
Yeah.
different eras. Yeah, so we're developing that as well as a TV series. So yeah,
And then Apparitions is premiering the 11th of December.
Yes,
At
yes,
Carlton's
it is.
Cinema Nova.
Yep.
And at
as
the
part of
moment,
Monster Fest.
allocation is
Monster
exhausted, but there will be another release a little bit closer because as restrictions are easing,
You can release more beautiful.
really recommend people jump onto our Facebook page
Yes.
and the Apparitions page, because that's where you'll find out when
Where you'll
tickets
find out. Perfect. Yep. So if people are wanting to purchase a ticket, get onto your Facebook page. That's the best way of beautiful.
Yeah.
And you can purchase a ticket through there. That's how they can all stay up to date. Awesome.
And that's on all socials. We're at
Yes.
Apparitions Film.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Felicity.
Thanks,
It's been a
Felicity.
pleasure.
Paul, Anthony Nilsson, and Perri Cummings, thank you so much for your time. You can catch the premiere of Apparitions at this year's Monster Fest at Carlton Cinema Nova, Saturday the 11th of December. You can also learn more about the world of Cinema Viscera at cinemaviscera.com. We'll be right back with more of Offbeat. Don't go anywhere.
Netflix, known for having worryingly too little ethics, too much content, and not enough quality in their library, is being sued by 5 individuals who served as inspiration for films and TV shows in Netflix's library of works. These subjects in question didn't feel that Netflix applied a deft touch to telling their story. In fact, they think they were outright defamatory, depicting people as racist, unsympathetic, affiliated with criminals, and/or reduced to sexual stereotypes. These 5 individuals have decided to initiate a liberal lawsuit against the streaming platform. Here to tell me Netflix's side of the story is Calvin Laus.
Hi Kendra, and just to correct you right off the bat, my last name is actually pronounced Luss, like Calvin Luss. But to be honest, you could just call me Cal.
Oh, sorry, Cal Luss. So how is Netflix handling this unfortunate situation?
Well, for starters, we're extremely relieved.
You are?
Yeah, because we're only being sued for like 5 of our shows. It could have been a lot worse.
May I ask, who are the subjects that have taken issue with Netflix's media?
Well, for example, the parents depicted in Operation Varsity Blues claim that we destroyed their reputation because we unsympathetically depicted them as trying to bribe their kids into university in 2019.
Oh well, you may have been mean, but it seems like a pretty fair thing to criticise someone for.
Right, but we're also getting sued from a Wisconsin police sergeant who claims that we, in making a murderer, implied that he planted evidence.
That's a significantly bigger deal. I really hope you didn't do that.
Oh, no, we're just getting started. We also got sued by a chess grandmaster by the name of Nonna Caprashindavili, who claims that we portrayed her in a sexist way in the hit Netflix show The Queen's Gambit.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, there's more to come. We're also getting sued by a Manhattan prosecutor, Linda Fairstein, who claims that we portrayed her as a racist in the show When They See Us.
Oh, these are serious accusations.
No, I'm not finished. We're also getting sued by Harvard law professor Alan Dershowitz for $80 million for making him appear in the wonderful hit documentary Jeffrey Epstein, Filthy Rich, available to stream now.
It sounds like, justified or not, that you destroyed a lot of lives through unsympathetic and potentially inaccurate and defamatory information without considering the implications of your actions.
Yes, but in good news, we're not getting sued by Her Majesty herself, Queen Elizabeth, for the crown. So that's good news, although we are a tad worried about someone coming after us from Tiger King, because those people are bloody psychos.
Has this inspired any real serious self-examination of your ethics as a company and how you depict people in TV shows and movies?
No, but it has made us re-examine our business practices.
It has.
Yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to drag out these lawsuits for as long as possible, and then we'll just throw a bunch of money at them to make them go away. Because the idea is, if the lawsuits go for long enough, then we can actually make a Netflix series out of the lawsuits themselves. And we can do it in such a way that frames us as triumphant survivors of the system, and frames them as sociopathic megalomaniacs.
That seems unnecessarily vengeful and a little bit exploitive.
Yeah. We're trying to go for brand consistency with all of our actions. I think it really sums us up well.
Thanks for talking to us, Cal. Now I'm going to go cancel my Netflix subscription.
Well, I think it's pretty clear that Netflix will accept really anything for its television platform.
Felicity, I've set up a bit of a surprise to finish off the show.
Oh, yes?
Since we are a morning show after all, and our viewership figures have gone through the roof, we've decided to use our immense popularity and sprawling budget to engage some of our viewers from home.
That's so exciting.
What we'll do is we'll give some special viewers at home who entered the competition a surprise phone call. And if they're watching, and we know they're watching, if they're watching, they have to say the phrase, "Good morning, Offbeat." If they say it, then we'll give them a $10 voucher.
What a massive budget we have.
Okay, these viewers entered the competition throughout the week, and we'll pick 3 random phone numbers of those who entered to call right now. Remember, you have to say, "Good morning, Offbeat."
Good morning, Offbeat. Don't forget it.
Okay, here we go. I'm typing the number now, and we are calling Frank from Craigieburn.
I'm not making you breakfast. You're not my son. You're adopted. Yeah, what do you want?
Hello, is this Frank from Craigieburn?
Jerry, I told you I would have the money next week. Now leave me alone.
No, just hold on. This is Kendra with Offbeat, and you entered.
How did you get this number? Right, I'm calling the police.
Okay, that one didn't quite go to plan, but hopefully the next one will work a little bit better.
Now, since our last caller couldn't say good morning, Offbeat, the money is going to be doubled to the next caller who answers good morning, Offbeat.
That's correct. Thank you for mentioning that. If our next viewer can pick up the phone and say good morning, Offbeat, then we'll give you double the money. Now, let's move on to calling our next viewer, Gladys from Toorak.
Hello?
Gladys, is that you?
Yes, I'm still alive.
Terrific. Gladys, this is Kendra with Offbeat.
Kendra from Offbeat.
Yes, you entered in a comp.
I saw you on the television.
Yes, you put your details down for a
You remind me of my granddaughter. She looked just like you. Blonde hair, little face.
Sure. Now, Gladys, if you can say the phrase.
My granddaughter, she lives in New South Wales. I never get to see her anymore. Little thing. She must be so big now.
Okay, Gladys, good morning?
Don't interrupt, sweetheart. The last time I saw her was on a Tuesday at 12:07 p.m. She brought Legos over, but when she dropped one of them, I couldn't bend down to pick it up, so we stopped playing. You see, I've got my knees replaced 27 years ago, and now they're all creaky. I can't bend down now, but back in the day, sweetie, I used to do ballet. I used to use my knees a lot when I was a cheeky little girl.
How's it going so far?
Don't even. Now I'm going to try one more time. Last call for the show. If this person says the phrase good morning Offbeat, you can now win triple the money since the last 2 viewers did not even say the phrase.
Triple the money, what does that equal now?
You could win yourself a whopping $30 and even buy a coffee with that money. Now, I'm going to be calling... Oh, this one's under anonymous. Anything could happen. Okay, I'm calling anonymous from anonymous.
Hello?
Why would you enter the competition?
Kendra, hey, Kendra, it's me, Felicity.
I know who it is.
I'm on TV. Hi, Mum. So do I win the money?
You didn't even say the phrase.
Oh, I see. Good morning.
Better luck next time, Frank, Gladys and Anonymous. Stay safe, stay tuned for next week because we definitely won't be doing that next week.
And that's the end of episode 8 of Offbeat. A huge thanks to Paul Anthony Nielsen and Perri Cummings, and a reminder to watch Apparitions.
Huh? You didn't scream this time.
No, why would I?
Monsters. Right, we'll see you next week and the week after that for our final episode, and we have a very, very, very special guest.